So this is maybe not a Grayboe specific question, but what do you think of standardization? Because obviously standardization is amazing. We got like Remington 700 is a standard, and we have so many aftermarket products that support that because it's kind of standardized in the industry. But do you think that standardization is holding us back on true innovation?
I would say the simple answer is yes, but it's not that easy when it comes to actually manufacturing and giving customers what they want for a price. Now, I'm like, the concept of that question, I'm so like, I think it's such a good way to think, right? Like, I think asking that question is the right question to ask. And maybe we get to a point to where the answer being yes, we can figure out a way to make that happen. Like, let's not standardize everything because every individual wants his own unique product or something. But and I think that's the way the world's going in general. You know, everything's really becoming personalized and customized, and some companies in other industries are figuring out how to do that really well. I'm trying to think of an example.
You know, one thing that's super frustrating, I had to buy the base for scope mounts, and the action I was going is not a standard action, and finding the right part for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally went to the 6 or 7 different stores, searched online, and could not find the right one that had the right bolt size, the right bolt pattern, and had to go actually to the manufacturer of the, and that's frustrating.
And that's why it's so hard not to standardize. As a matter of fact, the industries in a lot of ways is even more becoming more standardized. And if you think about how much complexity there is in a rifle itself, you have to have some standardization. Otherwise, people run into the things that you are talking about. They can't find a base that fits their, or scope base that fits their rifle action. And it's like, so I think the general question is a good question to ask. I also think though that because of that fact that, like, you know, people want to have accessories that fit universally. Like, I want a Tikka, but I can't find any accessories that fit because they're all for Remington 700. So it's a tough one. And I say more companies are standardizing, and because what you see is companies kind of piggybacking off of Remington 700 is a great example. They piggyback off. I mean, that's why you see so many clones, because with the real thing that they want out of that is they want to be able to get the accessory market. Because if you can't get the accessory market, the customer just doesn't have the options. And when they're limited on options, that's a huge deal, and then they don't buy your product. So they go to what's standard because they can get accessories for it. And it's a real big deal. That's why you see some of the companies becoming successful. A great example of that right now is Bergara. They have a Remington 700 clone, and their rifles are selling like crazy. But I think part of the reason for that is because they took that clone model, and we're a good example. They buy our stocks, and we made our original molds all based off the 700, and they fit right in. So they don't have to go to a stock maker and have a special mold made. They can just piggyback off of all the stuff everybody else is already making for the 700s. And it's a smart move, but it's a move more towards standardization. So it's interesting, again, because our industry, it's almost moving more towards it, I think, due to necessity of the customers and what they want. But then on the other hand, you see other industries moving more towards individual ability to produce things on quantity for the individual. And so it's an interesting thing. But at least in the near future, from what I see us going more towards standardization. And I think because that's what the customers want. You know, they want to be able to make sure that the accessories fit. You know, the aftermarket stuff, you know, attaches, and they can have a stock that you know, if they want to change their plastic stock out, they can go to any stock maker and just buy one. Most stock makers start out making Remington 700